Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 15 and compare it against the OnePlus 12 and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now, I will definitely tell you between both these devices, they're very different, but there is also a lot of overlap between these two phones too. So I'm excited to kind of get into it. If you want to pick up either one of these phones or some other phones I'd recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the iPhone 15, which came out a little bit late last year, on the front of this particular phone has a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. And it's a pretty good looking panel. You know, it's a 60Hz screen, you have the dynamic island at the very top, but I do think it's like a pretty okay looking phone. Like, you know, it's not the worst looking phone of all time. You still have the dynamic island, which is still okay. A little bit of bezel around it, but definitely not a terrible looking device. And I do think in a lot of ways it's still a good looking phone. Now, the OnePlus 12, on the other hand, has a much larger 6.82-inch LTPO AMOLED display. It's a 1440p display, and I would say it probably is the better panel overall. I mean, it definitely looks like the better display. It's a bigger size display at that as well, and you are getting a 90Hz panel on this thing, which definitely is a lot better, I think. And if you're going to be getting some sort of display, I mean, I definitely like how this thing looks the way it looks. I think it looks beautiful, and definitely when it comes down to it, it definitely is a really good looking phone. On top of that, it is a curved glass display too, so it is curved. I do like curved glasses, but it is a really thick, it's a really big phone, so just kind of keep that in mind. Hopeless display, so not a dynamic island, but I would probably say the display probably looks better on the OnePlus 12 for sure. For the rest of the bodies, you can also kind of see how much bigger the iPhone, how much bigger the OnePlus 12 is over the iPhone 15. Flat side on the iPhone 15, curved side completely on the OnePlus 12, which I think looks pretty good for the most part. At the top, you don't really have anything. On the bottom, you have USB Type-C ports on both these devices, which is very nice. And you do get a dedicated SIM card tray on the OnePlus 12. And the OnePlus 12's bottom is like completely flat, albeit the sides are curved, which is very unique. Now, speaking about unique, very unique looking back on the OnePlus 12. This phone looks like a completely different animal when you look at it compared to a lot of devices that have came out in this day and age. You're getting this camera setup on the OnePlus 12, which is just a behemoth. The iPhone 15 camera, though, dual camera setup, and this one has like a quadruple kind of setup going on there, or like a triple one. Definitely very interesting, unique looking phone on the OnePlus 12. You are getting this like very unique texture on the OnePlus 12 as well, which it doesn't feel like a normal device. Like you can see it's like, I guess it's like a frosted glass back, but they're like completely different, and they just still feel like and look like two different, completely different devices. You are getting wireless charging on both. You're also getting IP certification on both as well, which is very nice, but definitely when it comes down to it. But you are getting better IP certification on the iPhone 15, which is actually kind of interesting. So when it comes down to it, on both devices, very unique stuff. I like both these phones a lot, but definitely I think the exterior probably wins on the OnePlus 12 for having the better display and for its unique build. Now, in terms of software longevity, this is probably the area the iPhone 15 is probably going to win at the most. You are going to be getting a longer lasting phone on something like the iPhone 15 over something like the OnePlus 12. So if you are wanting the phone that's going to be giving you a longer lasting device, and definitely I would say the iPhone 15 is probably going to be giving you that. And also from a software experience, I'm not a fan of like the software that's on, the OnePlus 12. It's just very buggy. I mean, it's not buggy, it just looks very like, I don't like this UI at all. I just think it looks very weird. It reminds me so much of like Xiaomi's UI and everything like that. I'm not a big fan of their stuff either, even though I think this is coming off of Oppo. I still think like the Oxygen OS was beautiful when it was before. Nowadays, it just looks very skin. I'm not a fan of it at all. So that kind of covers it up there as well. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The OnePlus 12 has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset inside with 12 or 16 or 24 gigabytes of RAM, depending on which model you have. I think this one has 12. With the iPhone 15 has that Apple A16 body chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's a faster phone between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Let me go and hop all the apps on this one. This one's going to take so long. I should have closed out before. Okay, there we go. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Let's get into their app stores 3, 2, 1. So the Google Play Store always opens up faster. Let's go and get into, I guess, the main panel, which is this one probably. Scrolling through. I think the loading speed's faster on the 15, but the OnePlus 12 is still a very fast phone. Hopping out of these two, we have a lot of apps we can kind of test out. So let's get into it. We can try Spotify. 3, 2, 1. Now I think I am logged in here, so that would have been probably a little bit of a difference there for the most part. Okay, perfectly fine. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's go and do snake versus blocks. 3, 2, 1. Again, this is not that crazy of a game. And of course, we get into a pop-up here, which that pop-up does kind of change the outcome a little bit. So we'll just kind of let that one out. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think the iPhone 15 was slightly faster there, but it was still very, very close between them two. Hopping out of here, we can try Netflix. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I don't know what happened with this one. I don't know why there's a server error. Facebook. 3, 2, 1. So I am logged in here, but it was actually faster here, which was kind of surprising. Wasn't expecting that. Stack. 3, 2, 1. I hate those little pop-ups that come up every time. About the same thing. I think the OnePlus 12 was slightly faster there for the most part. Let's get into this game for a second and see what happens. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and do Snapchat. 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone 15 was faster. Roblox. 3, 2, 1. But I don't think I'm logged in either one now. So I am logged in here. This one a little bit slower. Not that big of a deal. And let's do Temple Run 2. 3, 2, 1. As I always say, this game is not like a super technical, logical game at all, but it's still a very interesting one that I like testing every once in a while. And you can't see that the iPhone 15, although it did have that little pop-up that came like the downloading content thing that always happens, I definitely do think that maybe, just maybe, the OnePlus 12 is the faster phone overall. There's definitely a lot of overlap, and I don't know if there's like one that I would look at as consistently being the faster one each time, but quite potentially the iPhone 15, is maybe a little bit slower, but I still think for the price and for the size, the iPhone 15 is probably a very speedy phone, and I do think it's a smoother phone overall, but the OnePlus 12 definitely is probably the fastest one when it comes down to it. Now, in terms of the camera side of things, as you probably would have guessed, very, very crazy stuff here. You are getting a slight difference here when it comes down to it. So like I said, dual camera setup on the iPhone 15, triple camera setup on the OnePlus 12. You're able to do 8K on the back of the OnePlus 12, and you're able to do 4K at 60 on the front and the back of the iPhone 15. You're also able to do 4K at 30 on the front of the OnePlus 12. So not quite 4K at 60 on the front of the OnePlus 12 yet, but this is also another very interesting thing, because I would still argue that the quality of the lens of the iPhone 15 is very good. Like, this camera it's a very solid camera when it came out, and it still is very, very nice. You're getting 10x zoom on the inside and 0.5x zoom on the outside. So being able to zoom in 10x and being able to zoom out 0.5x is very, very nice. I really like having a camera like this that's like very quick. I can just like pull it out and it can do everything I want to do with it. It's a very, very good camera. You have portrait mode, panorama mode, video mode, cinematic mode, lots and lots of good stuff with this type of camera, which is something I actually like a lot about this type of device. Now with the OnePlus 12, I do think this is an overall very good camera. I don't know if it's a better camera, like it has better features than the iPhone 15 sometimes, but I do think the quality of this lens sometimes is kind of like not as good, I would say, as the iPhone 15. But I do like the fact that you have you can zoom in what is the max zooming in 120x, which is like, I don't even know why you want to zoom in that much. You have that type of capability, which is really cool. I think the UI is very weird because it's just like a little different. I'm not used to it. But also you are still getting like portrait mode, and you're getting other things like all these other modes here too. I think there's more features built into the OnePlus 12 camera, but I think the iPhone 15 is probably the better one for me because I don't really need all those crazy features. But I think the Samsung camera is probably better than all these two. So to sum it up, I do think the OnePlus 12 as a phone is probably the better, crazier phone in almost every single way. It has lots of cool features, lots of insane improvements when it comes down to it. And I do think this is a good phone. I don't know if I do think it's better than the iPhone 15 in some ways. Like, I think it has a better display, better build quality. I think, better performance maybe. I think the iPhone 15, if you can buy it in a used market, maybe like this one is an interesting comparison. I think the iPhone 15 Pro is probably better, but this one is still a very good phone. I think for the average person, this one's nicer. You're getting an overall smoother, more consistent phone. It's not going to have as many glitches. It's going to give you really good battery life. The camera's probably better on this thing slightly. So that's kind of how I would compare these two phones, honestly. That kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.